we went to his room, and he immediately went right to the place where the picture was and pulled it out. And so that was there. We also had a video of him receiving some things and saying thank you.
Yeah, we're going to give
I don't know how many of our children that this package would last as long as it has. So you can tell it's something that they're not really used to. And as he's opening that up, so we're having to encourage him. I won't show you the whole thing, but it takes a while for him to slowly get into it. But he's opening that up. We were able to take some few gifts from some families here. And here at the end, he enjoyed that and says thank you to that. I want to at least let you see that part, those families that support the specific children.
Thank you.
All right. So again, a real face making a real difference. Different things like that. This is him. This is my dad reading a letter to him. You know some words you recognize. Isabel. We've included a picture of ourselves. And so getting to do that, also did that with another young man. You might recognize the three people there, Marcy, Franny, in the picture that Chalice is holding, and so sponsored him as well, and had a little bit of video of giving him some of the gifts as well. My dad really liked the towel that was sent, so you see him he wanted to take off with it here in just a moment, but again, he's got this bag of loot underneath it, and he just doesn't know really how to get into that, and so they just have so little. And we did try to do this semi-privately, and some of the kids still found us, but to do that. Of course, they like that we come from the island in the U.S. Islands. This is where your sponsors live, on this island. So he goes through his bag of loot, and there has a cocoon underlay and a coloring book as well, and the letter being read to him. All right. I don't know how much that bag of stuff cost that was said. That's pretty good payment right there, isn't it? And you're making a difference, and even in those fun things like that. While we were there, they were about to gear up for school. Their first day of school is while we were there, so did the backpacks. These are also things that are not covered completely by the money, so special donations go toward providing backpacks and their basic school supplies. And so we got to see that while we were there, kind of outfitting. Here's the thing, the backpack's about as big as the kid is, isn't it? And so we're adjusting it a little bit for them. Of course, they're so proud of their new backpacks. And it's just so many levels for where they wouldn't have gone to school because they didn't have a uniform. They wouldn't have a uniform, so they certainly wouldn't have books to take and paper and pencils. They wouldn't have needed a backpack. And so to really provide for them in a way that's even beyond their necessities as well. In the picture here, a couple of the older girls, one of the girls, our family sponsors, but you notice the orange container in the back. There's about a dozen of these, half a dozen of these on the property. And these are water filtration systems. Very poor water. The children were constantly being sick, and physicians kind of traced it to the water. And so because of some large donations, I think about $5,000 it cost to put the system in, providing things for them, things that we just take such for granted. So again, so cared for as well. Here on both sides, two of the ladies that are caretakers of the home. In addition to it, there's a family that actually lives here, and their sons, their children actually are growing up with all these other children. I'd like to bring 58 children into your home and still try to raise your family, and I believe they're just gifted by God to do this. I think this picture was taken in the kitchen. Some of the older girls already learning skills and helping prepare the meals. Again, these are 11 and 12-year-olds and learning to do that. We spent some time at the school nearby. Obviously opening a children's home about 2 kilometers from a school. 58 children puts a strain on the school. And so the children's home tries to do some special things for that school from time to time to help show our encouragement and our thanks for this. You see them there in their uniforms. This is my dad addressing the teachers of that day. This was the first day of school. Teachers or former teachers, how would you like it if 14 foreigners came to your school on the first day of school when you're trying to get started? And they were so gracious. Here you see the uniforms they're wearing as teachers in Indonesia as well. I talked about, this is just in the middle of their schoolyard. So you see the rubbish burning in the background, and they're just walking by. That's pretty normal, and those types of things. See, kids, you think sometimes our schools are prisons. Well, this one really looks like it, right? With the chain link fence there, and but that's not what that is. School teachers especially, you might find that interesting. This is the inside of a school classroom. Again, this is after the first day of school, so they're not quite up to speed yet. But you see not much on the walls. Part of what we did while we were there was repaint the blackboards with chalkboard paint, and so providing that for about 15 different chalkboards for their classroom. You see the kids jumping in, helping as well. There's a courtyard in one of the main buildings of the school there in the background. So again, you can compare that to where we are. So where do they come from? Oh, we have to stop here. This is mainly for Weston, who's a fan of the fruit. How many of you know what durian is? Okay. Do you know what durian? Have you eaten durian, Lynn? You know? You know? Do you like durian?
What?
Oh, you just dropped a couple levels. No, durian. When we were actually traveling on the way there through Singapore, we were traveling through the subway system, and there's a sign on the wall on the entry down into the subway system that says no guns, no explosives, and no durian. That's where they put this. It's a very smelly fruit. You can go to Chinatown and get durian smoothie, you get durian when it's in season, but literally there are hotels there. And understand, you know, we're not talking the Hilton Wine Village. Even their hotels say no durian allowed in the room. The smell is so strong. I don't know how to describe it. It's very unusual, but there's kind of these pods. They're inside the shell. If you can see the shell, it's got these spikes on the outside. I'm thinking that's God's way of telling us, do not eat. And, but people have violated that. And it's a combination of, it's like there's a membrane, and then you squeeze out overripe banana. That's the texture. And then, is that pretty close?
Smells
you
like
know,
natural, like gas. It
that
smells like the deterrent they put in natural gas.
It's been mistaken to smell for natural gas. Actually, my parents tell a story about when my mom ate some durian, we got it there even in Texas, and had gone home after Bible study on a Wednesday evening. My dad comes home and says, "We have a gas leak." And so they call the gas company, they come out and check it late at night. No, there's no gas leak. And late at night, I still smell it. I know we do have it. And later they figured out it's because my mom had eaten durian earlier that day. And it was just, that's how strong the smell is. So some of the cultural parts. We had some leftovers, so we called the dorm students. They were more than happy to come and get that for us. When you compare the children's home, you think, wow, what a nice place. Especially if you come from this. Now there are also nicer buildings, but the children's home serves the poorest of the poor. The village preachers there on the island trek back some places you can't get to even by motorcycle. It might be 2 or 3 kilometer hike. This kind of hiking back into villages, things like that. And so they're just so fortunate. And I'll say this is not even the worst that we've seen. One of the girls that you've seen a picture of already, not this year, but the year prior, we actually went back to her home. And there are cracks in between the wood slats, at least a couple of inches long. No way that when it rained, that they stay dry. And I don't know that a human could lay